With the Disney-Fox takeover all but confirmed, true believers and X-Men fans in particular are now looking to the future of the MCU with bated breath. With one Fox property, the Fantastic Four, already said to be piquing interest within the halls of Marvel Studios, it's only natural that Marvel's mutants will be doing the same. As opposed to the Fantastic Four, however, introducing the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe does present its own challenges. Do they want to retread Fox's movies, or does a film revolving around an entirely different group of X-Men present the better option? No one knows, but it's clear that Marvel's X-Men will be distinctly different to Fox's own, and that they won't be on the scene for at least another 3 years. It's also unlikely that any of the cast from the series' latest continuity will cross into the MCU either, so new faces, new costumes, and new lineups will all be called for. But how do they do it, and who should play who? With that in mind, I'm Ewan from What Culture, and here's who Marvel should cast as the MCU's X-Men. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, Jean Grey, Evan Rachel Wood. Although there have been calls for Marvel Studios to introduce a younger group of X-Men to set it fully apart from Fox's films, it's important to take note of what they did well. The first film, for instance, managed to handle the history of Xavier's school well enough, with the clear delineation having been made between the school's teachers and the pupils themselves. That generational divide has been commonplace in the X books for years now, with the likes of Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, and Wolverine usually the ones to take on leading roles at the school. Characters like Jubilee and Shadowcat, on the other hand, are put on a journey to reach those positions themselves later down the line. If Marvel were to follow the character's recent runs too, then Jean would very much be the leader of the team. Evan Rachel Wood, who's already taken on a leading role in HBO's Westworld, will be the anchor of the group and their key tactical mind, providing the character with real agency and not casting her as the victim of a ham-fisted love triangle. Number 9, Nightcrawler, Timothée Chalamet. Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler may have starred in one of the best opening movie sequences of all time, but his character was wasted in every X-Men film after that. That's mainly down to the fact he didn't make another appearance until 2016's X-Men Apocalypse, where he was then played by Cody Smith-McPhee. He's due to reprise the role in next year's Dark Phoenix, but after that, it's likely that Fox's X-Men will draw to a close. Coming off the back of a formidable performance in Call Me By Your Name, Chalamet is well on his way to rising through Hollywood's ranks. He'd also be perfect for the part of Nightcrawler, should the character be included in a future on-screen interpretation of Marvel's mutants. Give him a fuzzy beard from X-Men Red, and everything will be spot on. Number 8, Charles Xavier, Ralph Fiennes. Patrick Stewart is to Charles Xavier what J.K. Simmons is to J. Jonah Jameson, the pure living embodiment of a comic book icon. Filling those boots, then, is an unenviable task. James McAvoy had the freedom to do what he wanted with the character, having taken on a version of Charles that was in his mid-20s during the 60s before aging in the years following. But playing Professor X in his prime is a different matter altogether. There is one actor who's up to the task, however, and one who is, surprisingly, yet to star in a fully fledged comic book film. Ralph Fiennes has all the tools and the trade to make the MCU's Charles Xavier, providing both the sophistication and the comic influence Professor X exuded in abundance during the comics themselves. Number 7, Eric Lenscher, Daniel Craig. But who should play Xavier's rival? Though he'd probably hate every moment of it, Daniel Craig, who's set to finally retire his tenure as James Bond in Danny Boyle's upcoming film, would make the perfect Magneto. Charming, intellectual, with the drive to see his vision through, Craig is everything Eric Lenscher should be in the rebooted X-Men series. As with Fiennes and Professor X, Craig has some pretty big shoes to fill, with Ian McKellen having captured the essence of the anti-villain in every X-Men film he starred in. It's a task Craig can easily accomplish though, providing he deems the Brotherhood of Mutants to be more mature than Ian Fleming's globe-trotting super spy, which, in all fairness, they kind of are. In any case, this new series of X films should look to provide nuance to the divide between the X-Men and the Brotherhood. Craig himself is more than capable of injecting that complexity into the role, and perhaps make audiences question whether it really is Charles who's right about the path to mutant liberation. Number 6, Jubilee, Hayley Kiyoko. Among X-Men Apocalypse's greatest offenses was the fact it completely wasted Lana Condor's Jubilee. The character barely appears in the film, and with the credit not listed for Dark Phoenix either, it looks like that the trend is set to continue for at least another year. At the top of Marvel's priorities for the new X-Men should be to include the character. Not only was Jubilee featured heavily in the X-Men's most iconic 90s team, she had a leading role in the cartoon too. Subsequent appearances in other X-Men media have cemented the character as one of the team's most famous members, and in focusing on a generational divide between X-Men, Jubilee should take on a pivotal role. It would be great to see Condor return for the part, but if not, Hayley Kiyoko would be great too. The actor/singer is still only 27, is ridiculously charming, and having starred in films like Gem and the Holograms and shows like CSI Cyber, it's about time she made the leap to the superhero genre as well. Kyoko's status as an actual musician also lends itself well to Lee's powers and personality, making her a no-brainer for the part should it be made available. Number 5. Cyclops, Armie Hammer. James Marsden was fine as Cyclops. He wasn't given much to do in Bryan Singer's films other than bark orders and be overly confrontational, and by the time he was killed off in The Last Stand, audiences could be forgiven for feeling as though he'd been completely wasted. Armie Hammer may be frequently suggested as a potential Batman, but he could easily embody the Boy Scout ideals of Scott Summers, having already showed his leading man qualities before. That, and it would be great to see him link up with Wood, who'd lead the team alongside Scott. Important to consider as well is the fact that, while Scott was always Xavier's most faithful student, their paths diverged in the comics. Introduce an arc that shows Scott loses faith in the X-Men, and you have the premise for a fantastic trilogy. You know, as long as he has the Jim Lee costume. Number 4. Storm, Janelle Monáe. Janelle Monáe is having a wonderful year, and though everyone might be paying more attention to her music career first and foremost, key roles in Moonlight and Hidden Figures intimate just how special a talent she really is. One of the most frustrating things about the original X-Men film series was the treatment of Storm. Halle Berry was perfectly cast in the role, but she was miswritten from top to bottom, lacking the authority of a comics counterpart on account of the fact she was portrayed less as a leader and more as a peripheral figure in the team itself. The terrible one-liners probably didn't help matters either. This new series of films should aim to do right by the character, and make doing so its biggest priority. Aurora Monroe has led the X-Men on countless occasions, and should occupy a key role in a reboot, launching Lightning and leading the team alongside Scott and Jean. Number 3. Mystique, Charlize Theron. Jennifer Lawrence's Raven Darkholme has become one of the most divisive aspects of Fox's X-Men series, with many believing that the actor has too much star power for the franchise to actually accommodate. Marvel may have to find a new kind of blue makeup to convince anyone to play Mystique, but she's still an important character in the franchise and one that's nailed on for an appearance in the event of a reboot. Introduce an arc surrounding Nightcrawler's parentage and have Mystique working against the X-Men in a more classic role, potentially vying for control of the Brotherhood with Magneto, and Charlize Theron would excel in equal regard. Theron has undergone from one high to another throughout her career, and having already played 2 iconic female leads in Fury Road's Furiosa and Atomic Blonde's Lorraine Broughton, stepping into the boots of Mystique shouldn't prove difficult. Number 2. Wolverine, Tom Hardy. Though the saturation of Wolverine should be a concern, especially with Hugh Jackman having imparted such an impressive legacy on the character, there's no way the MCU ignores Logan. Come the inevitable reboot's production, the 5'9" Tom Hardy should top Marvel's shortlist for the role. His acting abilities have never been in doubt, and though it could potentially be a franchise too many for the actor, it's the Canadian knucklehead he was destined to play. Just check out the ridiculous selection of stunning fan art of the actor in the suit if you need any more convincing. Contrasting with Logan's on-again, off-again relationship with Xavier's team, it'd be nice to see this particular Wolverine embrace the X-Men this time around. Logan's been dedicated to the X-Men for years now, and in ensuring the team has a character who'd fight tooth and nail for its survival, Wolfie is an essential pick. Number 1. Emma Frost, Rosamund Pike. Though Wolverine is most often cited as the X-Men's most ambiguous character, at least when it comes to morals, it's Emma Frost who brings the real spark to the team. A keen telepath who started out as a villain in the comics, Frost already appeared in X-Men First Class, played by January Jones. The portrayal was something of a departure for the villain/hero though, with the character playing second fiddle to Sebastian Shaw for much of the story's duration. In this new reboot, Frost could easily switch allegiances over the course of the series, joining the X-Men after being introduced as an antagonist in the first film. Pike, who's no stranger to this type of role, could portray this transformation effortlessly, bringing some much-needed tension to the team after a potential switch by running into conflict with Jean Grey, as she did it in the comics.
Hello, you made it all the way to the end of the video, aren't you good? While you're here, we have other channels that are probably also quite nice, so why not give one of those a little watch? You never know, you might find something you like, or who knows, I might be there as well. Ooh, spooky.